Okay, so today I'd really like to welcome Lana and Linda, Lana Bastianutti and Linda Ford, who are both coaches and have been coaches for quite a long time, and also two women who came across the three principles, and that certainly sort of informed their coaching work with women and confidence. So I'd love for you to be able to introduce yourselves a little bit and perhaps tell us a little bit about your story, and you know, how it's impacted you and how coming across the principles has sort of impacted your work with women. That would be great. So Linda, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for inviting us here, Rachel. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Well, Lana and I have been coaching. We always say we've got about 20 years experience of coaching between us, which makes us sound really old. But, between us, that is. So, yeah, I've been coaching now for about 12 years. And I kind of latched on to coaching women in this area of confidence because for so many years, which is the reason why we wrote our book together on women and confidence, is that we came across so many women who were so smart and talented and, just had great potential, and yet who still felt like imposters. And they still felt, they were always second guessing themselves. And so we were quite intrigued by that. And then the other thing, the light bulb that went off, was that we both realized that we were one of them too. In terms of our business, setting up our business, we found ourselves, in all honesty, holding ourselves back and kind of playing small, But, for me personally, I would say I cannot remember a time in my life when I did not feel insecure. It was something that just seemed to become part of my personality. It was like, I thought that's who I was, I'm just an insecure person. And it kind of I just kind of accepted it, and I've, over the years, I've been thinking, why did I feel that way? And not that I'm kind of looking for excuses or justification, but it kind of makes sense, when you grow up in a family that's very poor and you have parents who are quite dysfunctional and don't do life very well, like my parents, you kind of grow up feeling as if there's something wrong with you, or that you're defective, or that you're missing something. And for me, it was always, I was missing confidence. Just the confidence to kind of like feel good about myself and know that I could achieve great things in life, unlike my parents. So my parents, in a way, did not model this life that, a successful life, but they were also my greatest teachers, ironically, because it kind of set me on this path of discovering, why am I so insecure? Why do I keep holding back? And so in a sense, my career has kind of come out of my life experience. So that's my story anyway.
Yeah. And coming across the three principles understanding, how did that help you, or how did that impact you personally and in your work?
Yeah, well, so I got myself on this journey, this self-help journey of trying to figure out what was wrong, and ended up becoming a coach. And of course, the kind of coaching that we did previously was very cognitive based. It was like, try and identify what it is you're thinking, because we know our thoughts, cause us to feel a certain way. And it was all about changing and managing the thoughts that were going on. And I just kind of, after 10 years of that, kind of took an honest look at that and thought, you know, it kind of works, but it doesn't work. It kind of helps, but it doesn't help.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't very sustainable. And so I kind of just stopped coaching for a while, actually, for about a year, and came across the principles through Amy Johnson, actually. And I realized that was the missing piece, is that it wasn't just, you know, you can't just solve your problems from this cognitive base, that there was something else bigger going on. There was something else, something bigger about us, you know? And so you put those two together, and that was really my journey. And that's how the principles really helped explain why a lot of my clients and myself were not really experiencing that true transformation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that myself in my coaching at one point, that women would complete, you know, a course of sessions, and they'd be feeling great, and they've achieved their goal, and it's, you know, it looks great. And that's really good. And as a coach, you see, great, they've really got value and you know, change from this coaching. But I used to wonder sometimes, there has to be something more underneath, because that achievement of that goal actually only takes us maybe to the next one, or the overcoming of that down only takes us to the next one. And it sounds like what you're saying is, when you came across the principles, that the problem isn't that we think, it's what we think about what we think. So we believe, as you both sort of list in your book, you know, we believe a lot of lies about why we're lacking in confidence, or you know, how we keep ourselves small maybe, or are not sort of confident to sort of follow what we want to do in life and enjoy it and engage fully. So thinking about what we think, we're thinking about maybe believing that what we're thinking is true, and then we make up our thinking about what we think is true, and that causes what they call thought storms, doesn't it? So yeah, that's lovely, Linda, thank you. And I'd like to just bring in Lana now to hear some of your story.
Well, you might as well rinse and repeat there.
Me too.
Yeah, you know, I think for a lot of coaches, you know, we always end up coming into the field because we're curious about something within ourselves. And, you know, as Linda was saying, the element of insecurity or lacking of confidence, for me, it was a not good enough feeling. And I understood, I mean, I did psychology, so I understood that thought had something to do with it. And then I was trained as a coach, and so I knew the cognitive behavior therapy model. And so I understood, okay, thought, feeling creates our actions and our results, and it reinforces, I see how this is going. And it was all on a very psychological level. But deep down, what I was discovering within myself and with all the clients I was working with was, even we could work with the psychology, but there was also that deep rooted feeling that even underneath that thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me. Like, okay, yeah, I can manage, control this thing, but you and I both know underneath that there's something wrom. There's something missing. There's something not good enough. And so when I came across the understanding, just like Linda, just like you, I realized, oh, I had it backwards. I didn't really understand how we can be so seduced by our thinking, how the mind can really have this seductive force around us to make us believe that, oh no, this is what you are. This is your experience, is who you are. It's part of your nature. So when I discovered this understanding, it was like, whoa, 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 what do you mean I'm whole and I'm not broken and there's nothing wrong with me? And oh, that's right, all these qualities, confidence, resiliency, joy, compassion, love, creativity, those are mine. Those are innate. They're always there. And then on top of that is all the thinking that kind of distracts me. What freedom, what freedom. And then freedom in understanding how it all works, who we really are, and then how thought works to kind of distract us and numb us to who we are. It was so empowering. It was such a relief. And it was such a relief that I'm like everybody else. Like our experience just comes to us through thought. That is our experience, but it's not who we are. And yeah, we're human beings. We're going to have self-doubt. We're going to have insecurities. It's okay. When we attach to them and make even more story and meaning about that and kind of incorporate it in our identity, that's when we get ourselves into trouble. That's when we forget who we really are and don't lean into that. So, I mean, for me, it was really liberating understanding, oh yeah, as humans, we're always going to get invitations to grow and expand with these feelings of lack. And we've got a safety net underneath all of that that we can rely on. So yeah.
And there's something about finding out, isn't there, that a lot of women feel broken, and unable to voice that, really, because it's that feeling of, everybody else is okay, they just lack a bit of confidence, but actually me, I'm broken. But I can't say that because, that would be quite embarrassing to tell somebody that. So it can be, and it sounds like we've all been through that: psychology, counseling, therapy, education, self-help search, become coaches, worked with women, and then thankfully came across the 3 principle understanding, which actually shows we're all the same. We work in exactly the same way. And the woman who looks confident can just as easily be feeling inside, but I've just learned the tools and tricks to manage my insecurity. They don't know, actually, I'm really, really not good enough underneath. That's where the whole imposter syndrome sort of came from, with women. It's like, well, I've landed this, but actually they just haven't found out I'm not good enough yet. And that sense of relief that you talk about, actually, that not only are we, the same in terms of how it works through our thinking and making beliefs around that, but also we're all the same, that actually what we're made of is innate. And I wonder if you could say a little bit more about that, that innate well-being.
Well, as a lot of people in this understanding, what they tend to do is they tend to reflect on when they were really young. I have this distinct memory of one of my kids saying to me at about 12 or so, "Mom, how come I was so confident before when I was younger? Like, I didn't care what other people thought of me. I just happy and happy-go-lucky and whatever. And now I'm always thinking about what other people think of me. What is the difference? What is going on? What changed for me?" And to me, this nature component, who we really are, the core essence, all those qualities we talk about, it's always so visible, so easily visible in young children. You can see them have these experiences of being upset, feeling angry, feeling sad. All of it goes through them, but they don't hold on to them and make it mean something about them then. They allow the system to work as it naturally does. And what we see over and over again is their natural energy, their natural jubilance rises to the top. You can see, if you've had an experience with a kid, you can see them be really, really upset. And as a parent, you can become upset as well. And then the next minute they're over it and you're still sitting in it. Why does that happen? You know, what is the difference? And the difference is always the thinking going around. And I love to use kind of a scale sometimes, especially with clients. It's like, okay, so in this situation where you don't have a lot of insecurity, you know, on a scale of 0 to 10, in terms of the amount of thinking you have in that situation, are you a 0 where you don't have a lot of thinking about it? Or are you a 10 where it's like, you're just overwhelmed with thought? And inevitably, whenever they're in a situation where they're feeling really insecure, have a lot of self-doubt, think there's something wrong with them, they're up here. Because of the amount of thinking that they're doing, which always, it's like, it always removes them from their essence. Because if you could just sort of swipe that, you know, wave a wand and give them a little amnesia for a minute, they'd be right back to peace of mind, that core essence that we all are. And we've all experienced it. We just kind of brush it aside or ignore it or overlook it because the other is so tempting. It's so like, ooh, I can get into the story. You know, we love story. I can get into the drama of it, you know? So yeah, I don't know, Linda, if you want to add to that.
Yeah. Love what you're saying there, Lana. Yeah, you know, I think the difference for me in my coaching in terms of this subject of innateness is that most of us are kind of going through life believing that this body and this mind psychology we have is what we are. And the beauty of the principles, coaching with the principles, is that we kind of acknowledge, no, we're actually more than what we see in the mirror every day, right? There's this spiritual component of us. And it's like, you know, when you understand the bigness of that we're more than just what we see in the mirror, it just changes your whole reality of life. It changes your sense of well-being. Because when you acknowledge that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, when we acknowledge that there's form and there's a non-form aspect of us, as we say in our terminology, then it's almost like you're plugging yourself in to the mains. That's how I see it. It's like I've got my laptop in front of me and I can run it on battery very well and it still works. But when I plug it into the mains, you know, there's so much more power coming to me. And so, you know, I think when we go through life thinking that this is all there is to us and we're limited, as Lana was saying, you know, we think we're shy, we think we're insecure. It's like we're missing out on this whole other energy, this whole other power source. And so that's what the beauty of the principles does in coaching, is that, yes, we recognize that we have this connection to our psychology and our body, but there's this other component that if you plug yourself into it, you're going to plug yourself into that source of well-being and all that stuff that Lana was mentioning about resiliency, creativity. You'll get a direct line, right? So that's what I love about this coaching. And it's got nothing to do with religion. It's just understanding that there is this universal energy that we are all connected to and part of.
I love that, Linda, because I mean, that sounds great, doesn't it? It's like if we can just plug ourselves in, you know, we literally tap into creativity, to energy, to peace, to well-being, to resilience, and, you know, to confidence. And, you know, the example of when we were a child, you know, we had that freedom of expression. So we're crying, we're laughing, we're, you know, we're just in the moment, really, as children, and we're not thinking about, what does this look like? Or, you know, is this what my friends do? Or is my teacher going to still love me or accept me if I'm doing this in class? You know, we just are in the moment at that age. And yet for the parent, when we become an adult, sometimes we go straight to, well, what's wrong with my child? There has to be something wrong, but it's just really that we've forgotten, that innate well-being is us expressing ourselves in the moment, and there isn't anything wrong, and we aren't broken, really. So I wonder if you could tell me a bit about how, by seeing about that plugging in, you've been able to help your clients through your coaching work. To either of you.
Well, I'll just say a few things.
Okay.
Well, when you distinguish those two realities, then you understand, we kind of refer to ourselves as hybrid coaches. And hybrid in the sense that, we've got the spiritual side to us, but there's also this stuff here, and there's this amazing stuff up here, right? The equipment of the mind. And if you know how to use this, if you know how it works, then you can kind of just conjoin those two worlds beautifully and assimilate them so that they work for you, right? So part of what we teach, in a sense, or share is that when there's a big, we call it the big self, little self. So when you have the big self and you come across some problem in your life, or insecurity or fear or whatever, that's what the little self is dealing with. And you can kind of just remind yourself about your big self, that you have what it takes to get through, to solve problems, to navigate yourself through difficult times. So the integration of those two concepts, those two ideas, is really empowering, because it's not just you standing in your physical body with your psychology trying to manage it all, right? Because it just doesn't work on its own. So that's how I would see it. Lana, do you want to add to that? Or
one thing I would just reinforce is we're always connected. We're never not connected. The only thing that creates the illusion that we're not connected is our thinking. So rest assured, you're connected, no matter whether or not you think you are. You already are. And so I love what Linda's saying here about the big self and the little self. I mean, we do have these psychologies, and they are wonderful, but sometimes we misuse them innocently. We don't really understand how best to use this equipment. And so we do get tangled up in real nightmares and real suffering. I mean, it does feel real because that's how it works. We experience our thinking. So it's, to me, a lot of the work initially is sharing some of these ideas and really asking the client to what if, and to observe, like, what if this is true? What if you are greater than you think, that you have all the qualities that you think you don't have? What if that's true? Start looking, start being observant in your own life of where this has already been true, where you've already experienced a lot of sadness or upset that you never thought you would get through, and you're already on the other side. Where has it already happened in your life? How do you account for that? What do you think happened there? And then you can go into, because quite often a client will go, well, my circumstances changed. so then you can start to talk about how our experience comes to us, how we feel what we feel, because a lot of people, as you know, think it's outside in. It's our circumstances that make me feel a certain way. So then you have a whole discussion about, well, let's look at that. Let's really explore that. So it's a constant sort of poking at belief systems and conditionings and programming, and introducing a new way of seeing it, and sort of like loosening up their grip on how they think it works, and asking them, challenging them, inviting them to really see if they could see it differently, observe how it's working within their own life. What if it's not true that you're insecure? What if you're just experiencing insecure thinking, and that's okay? what if it wasn't so personal? What if you didn't take it so seriously? What then? What would happen? So it's a lot of getting curious about how it all works.
Yeah. And I love that, just loosening, that's a lovely term. It's like just loosening and observing what we do and how we are and what happens with us or without us. And there's also that sense of relief, I think, Linda, when you said the big self, the fullness and the little self, because it can feel just in the human form sometimes that we just can't do it anymore. We just can't keep going, or we just can't overcome, or we just can't achieve, or coming back to that sort of I'm not good enough, and look, I can't even sort my life out, I can't even achieve that, and carrying all that weight and pressure of I need to sort this out, I need to deal with this, and just that plugging in comes back to me. It's just, hang on, just plug in, just remember, and the relief of that sort of weight of, oh, okay, it's not all down to me, actually. It's not just down to the human form.
Yeah, it's a huge relief, isn't it? It's like, wow. So not only do we get the benefit of being plugged into that higher power, that universal intelligence, but we also, get to just kind of feel the ease of as we go through life, I like to refer to it as parenting yourself, just reminding yourself that just the way a parent would comfort a child, when the child is having a hard time or is upset, when you are having a difficult moment in life, which we invariably will and do, to parent yourself, remind yourself. And parenting means reminding yourself, hey, you are more than you think you are. You are bigger than you think you are. And you have this benevolent, it's a very benevolent force that wants to work with you, not against you, Huge comfort there.
Exactly. And it's beating our hearts every second,
see, like Lana was saying, look for the evidence, right?
Exactly.
Like just look around. Our digestion is working most of the time. Our hearts are beating, there's a lot we don't have to do. It just automatically works. So that's a good friend.
It is. The other thing that I'd like to say, because sometimes with this understanding, people think, oh, okay, so I have to always be like, okay with everything. It's not so much that. It is about coming to peace with certain things, but it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay. And the thing that often gets us in trouble is when we make it wrong to feel something. Or we get scared of what we're feeling, or we think we're never going to be able to deal with it or handle it or be capable. I mean, it's like a woman in labor. I mean, I remember when I was in labor going, oh, no, time out, cannot do this. Like, I think we've all felt that. And it's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it's the same with our feelings, our experiences. We are capable of handling that. It's not going to break us. Its nature is to go through us and for us to experience all of it. So I think that's one thing with this understanding. Sometimes people misunderstand. They think, oh, I just have to, everything, blah, blah, blah. Never feel any high, low. No, you do. It's just, you don't get so caught up in it. You don't create a 3-part drama necessarily with it all and suffer. And then sometimes you do, and that's okay. It's okay.
Because it is about those two things together, isn't it? The form and the formless. So it isn't about trying to achieve a sense of spiritual formlessness, because that's not who we are. That's not what we're made of. We're made of that formlessness, but we have the human form, and that's about being in life, having feelings, experiencing those things that happen in all our lives, that can be really really challenging at times.
Yeah, you know, we've been given this amazing vehicle
Yeah.
to travel through life and to experience, you know, our consciousness, and we need to know how to use it. It's a gift, you know. It's like, wow, it carries me through life. It takes me to places, good and bad neighborhoods and good neighborhoods. And so again, it's like that. If you can learn to live with the two of them beautifully, know how they both work, how they're both supporting each other, you know, that's a beautiful life. That is when you experience well-being. But when you're you know, as opposed to just kind of being spiritual and ignoring it, and just, you know, spiritually bypassing what's going on, it's learning how to do that really well. And that to me is when you've got the sweetness in life.
Yes. Lovely. So how are you working with women at the moment? What are you up to?
What are we up to, Lana?
What are you up to?
We're doing our one-on-ones, and then we both volunteer with Heartfelt Presence, because that's, you know, wonderful to be able to do that. And then we always have a project going on, it seems. And so right now we're putting the final touches on a online self-paced program for new coaches or coaches that have discovered this understanding and you know, like us, came from a previous training and not quite sure how to work this in terms of working with clients. How do you integrate that? How do you use it? So we're putting the final touches on this online video based confident coach course. And it's fantastic, actually, as we're going through it and adding things to it. It's a really well-rounded, we call it a book because it's got the book cover, which is all the marketing pieces, the stuff that they don't give you when they train you as a coach. So we've got amazing interviews with the experts in the fields around marketing and copy and executive coach, like all the, you know, the whistles and bells of having a business. And then we have the book component, which is the actual concrete coaching. What does that look like? What are the components that go into coaching? What is the art of coaching? So we've got these two components that we put together. And Linda, what else do you want to add about that?
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, a lot of coaches are really great coaches and they love their work, but there's a couple of things that were going on that went on with us. And that is, we were eager to coach, but it took us a while to really discover our voice, to really discover what area of coaching we wanted to specialize in. And that takes some grounding, personal grounding, soul searching yourself. So we cover that in the course for new coaches who are still trying to find their voice or their niche, so to speak. And also, you know, how to be more confident. And that confidence, as we know, comes from you being grounded yourself in the discipline of coaching, how to be a good listener, how to have presence. You know, we have interviews with some amazing people on that. And then, you know, it's one thing to be a great coach, but how do you get the world to know you exist, right? So again, it's this you know, this fusion of those two worlds. And so that this is I would say the course that we wished we had when we were starting off, you know. But let me just say, it's not actually a course, is it, Lana? It's a program.
It's a program.
It's a standalone program that you just buy and you just watch videos. So
reflective questions, there's exercises, there's, you know, PDFs with information on it. And what we were really cognizant of the fact that, this is what we wish we had when we were first starting, but also we wanted it to be accessible. We wanted it to be affordable, and we want it to be easy. So we kept and impactful. We wanted all those things, because quite often as new coaches, you know, you learn how to train, but then you don't know the business side. And so then you have to invest a whole lot of money to that. It's like, you know, a lot of new coaches don't have that
No.
kind of money, and they
Yeah,
don't.
it can be expensive, can't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
They don't have the time to go, weekends away and all sorts of stuff. So let's really keep that in mind to make it accessible, affordable, and easy while delivering the goods. So
Great. Yeah, that sounds brilliant. And where can people find out about you both and the course?
well
We're, like Lana said, we're on the home stretch of putting it together, and it's going to be uploaded on a Teachable platform so people can access. So it'll be, we'll be starting to market it maybe in a few weeks. And I don't know if we can give you our websites, Rachel, where they can find out more about it. So we'll definitely let you know when it's available, when it's
Great.
going to be launched.
Yeah.
So
and
we
can
will
people find you on social media under your names?
Yeah.
I have been taking a little break from social media, but I'll be back into it. So we're both, Linda Ford is on Facebook, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and you can always find our book.
Little
book. So we just keep getting the messages out.
It's a great book, actually, because it's very simple in the I mean that in the most heartfelt way. It's very simple, but those lies that we've all lived by are so powerful.
Oh yeah.
And they have dominated. And I love the bit where you say, you add a bit about, okay, what did believing this lie cost me? But it's so simple and how you sort of go through that in the book about how all of that can fall away. That's the simple bit about how it can fall away, so yeah, love the book, and I've really loved having you both here to have this
thank
chat.
you, Rachel, for inviting us.
Oh, it's been great, really lovely. Yeah,
nice to finally meet you face to face.
Indeed, yes, and across the pond, as we say. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for the work that you do, Rachel, in interviewing.
Thank you.
You've done some wonderful interviews, and thank you for your work.
Oh, bless you.
And your time.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks both very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.